3, 2, 1. That was such a good clap sync. Such a good clap sync. I tried to get some students to do a clap sync once for a project, and it sounded like they were applauding. Oh. It was rough. You should move that down. That's going to drive me mad. No. You're
this thing. Okay.
So let's address the camera. Hey, welcome back to the Movie Rubric. I'm Timothy McDaniel.
Cole Wright.
Jonah Jovi.
And we have only done one other video one before, and it was Oppenheimer. We used a GoPro to film it. It was what it was. Oh, that is not supposed to be like that. Wow. Pause.
Oops.
We're off to a great start.
This is great. This is good content.
It's good content.
So
should we start over?
Nope.
No, I'll just edit this.
Okay. We're doing it live.
Do it live. We'll do it live.
How you guys doing?
I was planning on editing it out, but yeah, we can leave that in there. All right. I have a bit more. There we go. It's not shaking now. Or was I? Oh, I bought a new 360 camera. I'm doing good. So we're going to set it up, and then this should allow you, the viewer, I'm going to upload it to YouTube, and if I understand it correctly, to move around as you see fit, point the camera at your favorite or least favorite personality.
And see if we can get any quality memes out of this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Did any of your grandparents ever tell you had a face made for radio when you were growing up? Because mine did. So every time we do a video, one of these, I'm just constantly reminded. I guess it was my uncle who said that. So
yeah, my family, loves me. So
yeah, I think my uncle loved me. Yeah, I know he loved me. He was just a goofball. All right. Well, hey, today we are going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, or D3, the Mighty Ducks 3.
There's already a Mighty Ducks 3, though.
Yeah, you're right. I guess that joke kind of falls flat. So this is D3, Deadpool and Wolverine. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, our thoughts on it. But before that, I want to talk about a spoiler-free discussion and whether or not people should go see this movie. I'm going to jump right out of the gate. I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. I'm going to skip all the pretense because it's really hard to talk about this movie spoiler-free.
Oh, it's such a good movie. I legit, have not felt the joy of watching a Marvel movie like this since Guardians 3, Spider-Verse probably. So it's been about a year.
When did Guardians? That's 2. I want 3.
That was last spring, I think.
Yeah, I think last spring.
It's been over a year.
A little over a year ago.
So May 5th, 2023. Okay, so a little over a year ago. Yeah, I would agree.
This is a Marvel movie that I didn't even leave. Obviously we've seen some stinkers and we've seen some just very mid Marvel movies. This one was a banger.
It was really good.
This one holds a would even make a case being great even within the golden era of Marvel movies, that 2008 to 2019 era.
I would agree. So, are you also 2 thumbs up just for the record?
Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Jonah, how many thumbs are you?
I'm going to do 2 thumbs up also. This was a blast. A lot of fun. It was a lot of fan service, which isn't, in this case, I thought was a really good thing.
Yeah.
I give it 2 thumbs up. It was a ton of fun, I thought.
Yeah. I thought it was.
I had a smile on my face about pretty much the entire time.
It was one of the funniest movies I've seen in a hot second. Going back to your thing, you said it's the best Marvel movie since Guardians 3, which doesn't sound like that long. A year ago is not that long, but the rate at which Marvel's been churning out
just random stuff,
content that I haven't loved, that feels longer.
And before that, it's there was another streak of kind of
really.
stuff,
I would even argue I would put this honestly above Guardians 3, where I would like it, even though I love Guardians 3.
Yeah. I'll have to think about that, but it's not. That's not a crazy
really for
take.
Me, since
we're teasing what is going to be the bracket here in a bit. I'm guessing these two are going to be near each other in the bracket somewhere.
No, but this gave me some No Way Home energy, even though for me, No Way Home being my favorite Marvel movie, it gave me that kind of vibe, with some of the callbacks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I was biting my Cole.
I didn't say what they were.
You didn't say it. I probably ruined what it was by hinting. Yes, there's a lot.
Sorry, I said fan service, but
no fan service. Yeah. We're gonna quickly barrel past this. If you've seen the movie, you know what we're trying to beat around the bush around the trailers. I went back and watched some trailers afterwards. I don't watch movie trailers ever if I know I'm gonna go see the movie. The trailers did a good job masking what this movie was about. Yeah. This is one I would have not felt bad had I seen the trailers.
Yeah, because really from all I've seen was, are we in the spoiler free?
Not quite. There's
Okay.
one more thing I want to address, but finish your
Which
thought.
the trailer wise, I mean, everyone's seen like the screenshots of like them walking through the desert area, them walking around the corner in the city, that kind of thing. Those were like the two iconic shots from this, like the trailers.
Yeah.
that
there
it did.
there was like one thing they showed in the trailers. I'm going to say what it was, but they had a pretty good reason for it. That I guess we can talk about later, but I thought it was fair.
Okay.
But
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to address while we're in the spoiler-free part is I saw a lot of people. I want to use the word trashing, but I don't use the word trashing. A lot of people kind of just dumping on this movie, be like, it's overhyped, it's poop humor, it's stupid, it's fan service, it's nothing but fan service. Everyone who likes this movie is just like a toddler. I've seen a lot of that rhetoric online. And ignore those people. I shared with Cole on the way home. I wish more companies would just have fun with their IPs. Make non-canon, throwaway, just junk food like what this movie did. Because this was like superhero junk food.
yeah.
It was super good. So ignore those people. The movie was great in my opinion. If you guys don't have anything to add, we can move on to the spoiler discussion.
Yeah,
I think that's all I got to say.
Okay.
It's fun.
If we're going to do the video, I need to get like a big like button I can hit. The lights turn red. Yeah, just get like a klaxon and go.
You know, that'd be
alert.
funny, but you know, that requires effort.
That requires effort, and we don't want effort around
Yeah.
here.
We do the bare minimum around here.
Absolutely. That's the name of should be the name of our next podcast.
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum effort.
Yeah.
That's
All
what
right.
the last podcast was that we had was the bare minimum.
Oh, that was
Hey, that's a good that was a good
whatever's
time.
beneath bare minimum. Well, hey, so this is going to be a spoiler conversation about the movie now. So if you haven't seen it, you don't want to be spoiled, go watch it. Man, I loved all of the time travel, alternate dimension nonsense that this movie offered.
Yeah.
But it offered it in the best way. It wasn't in the way of like Loki or gosh, what was the other one I watched with Kang or Ant-Man? It wasn't in the way of those where I have to like consult Reddit for a map of what universe we're in.
Like how for this? This is the one like I just took it at face value. Like you know what? Sure.
You're just on for the ride.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it too much.
And it worked.
yeah.
It worked
Because-
so good.
Since we're in the spoiler, all these cameos from heroes we have not seen in quite a hot second.
Very hot second.
Yeah,
It was awesome though.
it was so good because even though
We're
even though-
spoilers. Say it. We're
even though like I'm gonna bring up the Chris Evans thing. 'Cause that was the
Yes.
biggest one.
Oh, I did not expect that at all.
Yeah,
That
I
really
was
good.
like, I gasped a little bit. I kind of got, a little like, I don't know, a little emotional. I'm like, it's Captain America. I think I'm like, flame on, we're doing this.
oh, it
Okay,
was so good.
I'm here for it though. It's like,
And then I was like, is he just tagging along for the movie? Because they like take him away in the car and he's talking to him. Like,
like, we're
is
gonna
he just hanging out now?
we getting Chris Evans this whole movie, and they're like, oh,
Yeah. I was like, I kind of figured that was coming eventually, but
That's some of the hardest I've laughed in a movie in a very long
like
time.
they did it. They did the thing that they've been joking about since Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, it was good. So if you haven't seen it, Chris Evans was teased. Showed up. It was teased like he was Captain America, and then right when you think he's going to say something super heroic or patriotic, he turns out to be the
Torch.
original Fantastic Four Human Torch, and that I think set the tone
Yeah.
for what we were going to get
set the expectations.
for the rest
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
movie.
and yells flame on, and I'm like, okay, even though this movie sucked, the Fantastic Four did. I'm like, you know what? I'm happy to see it because
Yeah.
And then they immediately show us, oh gosh, the guy who absorbs flame from X2. Can't think of his name. We saw the Pyro. We saw the like tongue guy. I don't know half the X-Men's name. There's 1,000,005 of them. They have the
I know
dumbest
like
names.
the main ones, but like
Yeah, we immediately saw the frog guy. We saw OG Sabretooth got brought back. Like, and for me, from there, I was like, kind of like you said, I'm just gonna buckle in and enjoy the ride, and I don't know where this is going, but
yeah.
buckle in your Honda Odyssey and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I can't tell if this is making fun of sponsors, it is a sponsor, or is it's both.
I think it was probably a bit of
I think it was a bit of
both,
both. Yeah,
I feel like
it was
they
funny.
It might have just been like one of those like we need a vehicle for this. Who's gonna be willing to have their vehicle show up in a Deadpool movie? Because it's not gonna be.
It was gonna clown on him.
Yeah, like and it showed in a good light necessarily. So
Honda Odyssey. The sales are going to go up after this movie.
yeah.
I almost went and bought a Honda Odyssey right after the movie. We were leaving. I was like, Cole dropped me off at the lot. So no, it was really good. So I mean, that brings us. There's a lot of wacky shenanigans in this movie. I want to ask. I usually ask it later on, but I kind of want to jump the gun with it here because there's so many good scenes. What was your guys' favorite scene in this movie? Oh, sorry. Favorite cameo in this movie. Not your
cameo.
favorite scene. Your favorite cameo in this movie.
Chris Evans was done fantastic. Ha 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 ha. But
I wish I had a rim shot here.
you know what? I mean, it's up there for. Did you do a rim shot?
I did, but you can't hear.
I can't hear it. I have my headphones in.
I can hear it on my end, but I don't think you guys can hear it. I feel weird being the only one wearing headphones. I like to address. I want to hear and make sure we sound okay. And then these two doofuses decided not to wear headphones today, so that's where we're
Yeah.
at.
Well, my earbuds, the extension wasn't long enough, and I didn't want to move the mixer. I didn't want to rearrange things. We were already there, so it's like whatever. But Chris Evans is, I think, is like the obvious choice on that because, well, he's one of the biggest names for like the MCU. As far as actor-wise. But I enjoyed seeing Blade in this movie. Especially how, like, they didn't really, like, build up to him, like, being there. He just, like, comes around the corner. There he is. I'm like, oh, my gosh, we're doing it.
Maybe I should have went first because you stole mine because mine was Blade. But, yeah, no, like, Blade out of nowhere, unexpected. I love the Blade movies. And that scene had a bunch of, like, forgotten Marvel projects as the cameo because like they were gonna do an X-23 movie and then they didn't. They were gonna do a Gambit movie and then they didn't, and an Elektra movie and they didn't. And then when Blade was there, I was like, "That's funny," and I'm so glad that they got him to come back and do this role.
Yeah. He was so good.
Didn't they recast Blade for the new one?
I feel him. They've been through like 5 directors.
Wesley Snipes, right?
Yeah, Wesley Snipes.
I feel like I saw something that like they were considering recasting him, and then Ryan Reynolds he made the comment. He's like, only been one Blade. And then, like, Deadpool looks at the camera and kind of, like, raises an eyebrow. And I was like, did they recast him? And I missed some news, so I didn't know.
Well, they've casted him. I can never say it. Mahershala Ali is going to be him. But, like, the movie's just, like, I think they've had, like, 5 directors. No one wants to take it. The script's been rewritten, like, 7 times.
So they did recast?
He's casted, but no director.
They haven't, like, finished the movie, though.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's supposed to be in development, but it's going really bad.
Been in development for quite a hot second.
I know I remember when they announced it, I was really looking forward to it, and I'm sad. I thought Wesley Snipes was Blade. Am I making that up?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
In the
Who's
original,
the guy that you just said?
In the new one, it's a new guy. It's Mahershala Ali, I think.
So they did or did not?
They did, but the movie hasn't came out yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
The MCU one that's not out yet.
So they did recast him. So I wasn't.
Yes,
okay.
the original Blade is Wesley Snipes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Now, I knew the original one was. I wasn't
And the
sure
one
if
in
they
this movie
recast
was
it.
Wesley
Yeah.
Snipes.
But they did recast him too. You don't know how to say his name. I'm not going to make you say it.
I think it's Mahershala Ali.
Okay.
there
there
you
you
go.
go.
Muhammad Ali is.
Muhammad Ali. That'd be pretty funny.
But
I'm right there with you. Mine was Blade, shortly followed by Gambit, and Channing Tatum did a phenomenal job as Gambit.
it was good.
I remember when they first
Just as
announced.
incoherent as ever.
Oh, it was so good. When they first announced that Channing Tatum was going to be playing Gambit, a lot of people were like, what? Ew, no, he's not going to be able to do Gambit justice. And then they said he was going to do the original like Cajun slang accent. And everyone's like, what? And then if I remember correctly, he's kind of from that area and like has some of that like naturally in his dialect. So I thought he did a great job with it. So I'm right there with you. Blade followed by Gambit. Jonah, what about you?
I think mine's number one's definitely the Human Torch. I just never thought Chris Evans would ever come back to do anything.
Yeah.
And then doing that was just, I thought that was awesome. And then my close second's probably Gambit because like I thought Gambit's really cool. I don't think, has he been in a live action movie before?
No.
I don't think he has. Yeah.
They
And
were
then
going to. And
Well, hold up. I think they had a Gambit adjacent character in one of the X-Men movies, didn't they?
there's been like how many X-Men movies now have there been?
Yeah, I don't think like Gambit, the way we saw him
in
has
there, yeah.
appeared. I feel like there was someone who
That
did
was
something.
probably the best version of Gambit we were going to get in a movie.
I vaguely remember a guy who threw cards
Yeah,
and was like Gambit watered down.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We've not seen this.
Gambit,
Gambit,
aka
Gambit,
that
yeah.
guy from Fortnite.
Yes, absolutely.
But that was pretty cool. I saw Channing Tatum. He put like a really heartfelt like post. He was like, "I never thought I was gonna be able to be Gambit, and then I got this opportunity. I was so happy." And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of nice little ending for him." And then like honorable mention, I thought the Calwarine was pretty funny.
Calwarine was
Calwarine was funny. That was good.
Calvary.
I guess that would kind of count as a cameo. That was pretty good.
100% a cameo.
Yeah.
I if you don't know, I was talking with Cole about this. Like Deadpool got made, like Marvel didn't want to do it. They were like, absolutely not. Like it's not going to work. It's not going to work as an R-rated movie. Ryan Reynolds shot a bunch of test footage and then leaked it.
Yeah.
According to him, like online. and
Allegedly, in quotation marks. Yeah.
fans went wild for it and were like, yeah, this is awesome. Please make this a thing. So my theory is that this movie was just Ryan Reynolds trying to plant the seeds
to continue
other
the
people,
legacy
yeah.
of Wolverine.
so that he could actually be Marvel Jesus, Ryan Reynolds, not Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds. Like,
Yeah.
by maybe giving us Gambit, because people are going to watch. I've already seen people watching this movie being like, okay, but like this guy's really cool. I'd love a movie
About
Yeah.
him, yeah.
featuring this guy. And then like people have like, you know what? Henry Cavill's Wolverine looked good. Like,
cool.
let's
Yeah.
do it. So I wonder if like people are going to use this movie to make future casting decisions down the line at Marvel.
yeah.
Testing the waters a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is a prime example of Ryan Reynolds knows how to do Marvel better than Disney knows how to do Marvel.
Yeah.
He
That's
knows
for
what
sure.
he knows what the fans want. He knows.
We want a good movie.
Like we talked about it. Like make a good movie and then insert the Marvel stuff around it.
Yeah. Like,
Like you said, use Winter Soldier as the example.
Yeah, I said, like, I think the problem with new Marvel is that they're so focused about the characters and insert this, insert that. And I said, what they need to do is they need to write a good movie, whatever genre they want, skin it to be Marvel. Like, Winter Soldier's a great spy espionage movie, kind of set with like some Cold War themes, and then they reskinned it to make it Captain America and Winter Soldier. I wish they'd do some more of that. I think that's kind of why Guardians works. Like, Guardians is like not a super known IP, so it's like Space Rangers kind of, and then you add the Guardian characters in, and
Some
it just
comedy, some sci-fi, and call it good.
it's a really good movie. Yeah, like, so I think they just need to stop hinging so much on the characters themselves. Make a good movie, and then figure out how those characters can fit within that film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of segues into my next point here. They did really good at like kind of calling out Marvel on like their low points as of late.
Yeah, that was funny.
I'm like,
Yeah.
good. You know what? They deserve it because they've have such, and I get it. It doesn't hinder the legacy of what they originally did.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, they aren't looking good. Marvel's,
No.
it's kind of sad to watch because it's like you watch an athlete in their prime dominate, be banger after banger, just being great, and then you see them start getting old, and then they're not as good as they once were, and then it's just really sad to watch.
I'm not as good as I want. That's
And
Marvel's
then-
theme song.
And then then Michael Jordan's playing for the Wizards. That whole thing.
Oh, they're bringing back RDJ, so Marvel's saved.
Yeah,
Maybe
boy.
Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Marvel Jesus.
He might. Like, listen, they are throwing out, they're throwing out like everything. They're doing what Doctor Who did with David Tennant. Like,
Yes, exact same.
they're like,
situation.
hey, we're at a low point. We need people to be interested. Deadpool, get out there, and we're going to throw all these cameos in there. Chris Evans, get in there. RDJ, get in there.
yeah,
works, though. It
very,
works.
very desperate. A
Yeah.
very desperate move.
They are throwing the Hail Mary here to
yeah,
get.
You know, I kind of feel I had a pang today as I was driving to the high school to get some work done. I had a pang of like kind of like sadness because I feel bad for the people who are in the new Fantastic Four movie. I don't know a single cast member who's in the new
Is
Fantastic Four
Krasinski
movie.
not in it?
I don't know.
Pedro. Oh, do you not want to know?
I don't care to know.
Oh,
okay, but
is it Pedro?
Pedro Pascal is
Pascal
fantastic.
is.
okay, so
Yeah.
good for that. I, being like a normie who tries to, or I guess it's not normal, it's someone who tries to avoid spoilers and avoid things. Normally, I find out who's playing what, though.
Yeah.
I realized I hadn't figured out who was playing what new characters in Fantastic Four, but I know Robert Downey Jr. is Doctor Doom, and I felt kind of bad. It's like any breakout roles
Breakout role, yeah.
that those people, maybe they had like a new and up-and-comer that was going to be like, this is my moment to shine, is not just going to be overshadowed by Robert Downey Jr.'s just overbearing charisma, and
Yeah.
especially someone like Doctor Doom.
And we're going to get to see like that charisma because we got to see him be a villain in Oppenheimer, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
So he gets to be that, but a super villain.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah,
So-
he can be so good.
Any other like awesome, honorable, mentionable cameos you guys would like to drop before I move on?
Well, I was talking about earlier with the
Why is Thor crying?
that was funny. that was good too.
We don't
yeah.
know. We don't know.
Yeah, why is
Yeah,
Thor crying?
that's just a
Maybe
future.
that's
Don't worry
gonna
about
be
it.
Secret War Avengers.
Oh
We're
my
gonna
gosh!
start-
If they tie it back to that, it's the biggest
Biggest payoff ever
like they did it like
over
yes.
years.
They have to.
They
I feel like they have to.
It's already set
Like,
up.
The writers working on Secret Wars watch this movie like, crap, we have to add that in now.
like call up Hemsworth, get him in here.
We got to pay that off. But I was gonna say, the one they showed in the trailer, in the last trailer, it came out like a week before the movie came out. At the end of it, X-23 was in it, but then they came out and said we just really wanted her to be able to be at the premiere, so we just like, and if she was at the premiere, people would be like, well, what's she doing here? So she was in the trailers. I was like, that's fair, I guess.
It's fair
That's not
to
the
a-
biggest one,
It's fair to a degree, but also like having what's her name? We looked it up the other day at Colton when we were driving home. Having her there because she's like friends with Hugh Jackman could have worked. Been like,
That's true. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah.
yeah,
she was
they
in-
didn't
yeah,
have to
yeah.
show that.
She was in the
That's
last
true.
one.
Yeah, they could have played it off. Yeah.
Like,
So-
I'm pretty sure they had the other Spider-Man go to the premiere of No Way Home.
They snuck him in.
Oh yeah.
Did they sneak him in?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
was
they
gonna
said
say, I
they
saw
wore hats or
pictures of them
something,
there.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, that makes
Tobey
sense.
Maguire took that seriously. They filmed that, and you didn't see him till the movie came out. He went into hiding.
Yeah.
No Way Home, and now this movie to a degree have given me hope that we can keep secrets again. Because for a while we
Cough,
couldn't
cough.
keep secrets.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo.
Oh yeah.
The problem with Mark Ruffalo is like he just like exuded in that particular instance like sweet old man energy. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to yell at him. Are you familiar with the story?
This is when he goes, everybody dies. So that one.
Well, not even that. My hot take is I don't think that's his fault. No, this one was Thor: Love and Thunder.
Or Ragnarok?
Ragnarok. Thor
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Mark Ruffalo was live streaming on Instagram. He's going live to his followers. He's like, yeah, getting ready to see Thor Ragnarok. Come see it. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you for the... Blah, 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 blah. Put his phone in the cup holder and forgot to end the live stream.
Oh.
He live streamed like
the whole first
20 to 30 minutes of the movie before people came in and took his
What
phone
an old
from him.
man, dang.
That's what I said. It just feels like sweet old man.
I look at Mark Ruffalo. I can't be mad at him.
For that one, if I was on a talk show and I wanted to throw the audience off the scent, I would make the joke everyone dies.
Yeah,
because that's a
not
pretty
technically true.
common
Like,
joke to
Say Cheadle didn't sell it well. He's like dude.
yeah,
dude,
like that's a
yeah.
pretty normal joke to make. But what gave it away was when Don Cheadle went, dude, and even then I was like, okay, well maybe Cheadle's in on the joke too.
Yeah.
It wasn't until Marvel started trying to run damage control that I started to be like, now hold up a minute.
Does everybody die?
Like if they just played it off, like I don't think anyone would have.
Yeah.
Have you seen the I know kind of off topic, but have you seen the Tom Holland in-game poster spoiler? This one isn't as bad, but it was just he was like live stream on Instagram, and he was like, I just got a box from Marvel, like some like press stuff, and then he opens it up, and it wasn't that big of a deal, just a poster with like the Avengers A on it. It didn't have the title or anything, but he opens it like this, like the camera's like there. And then on the back of the poster it says "not for public release." And then he goes, "Wow!" And then he turns and shows everybody. And then he goes, because he's on the back of it, and he goes, "Oh!" And he looks at he just for the thing. He ends the live stream.
Oh no, Marvel did that on purpose.
As I say, it's almost comical. It's like giant letters.
like, you
Not
can't
for
make
public
that
release.
stuff
That
up.
might have been fake, but
That's
it was
really
Yeah.
funny though. Well, they apparently, I don't know how true it is. He claims that they gave him like multiple fake scripts and had him shoot multiple scenes. I don't know how true that
And
is.
then you just
Makes
pick
sense.
one.
Yeah, and then
Get him off the scent.
because they didn't want him to know what the plot was going to be because they're worried he was going to spoil it. I forget. He spoiled. I forgot what
Tom
his
Holland just can't keep his mouth shut. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
he's
with
What
him.
was his
Yapper.
big spoiler moment? Because he had something where he like ruined a movie and everyone like freaked out.
He's done quite a few. Did he do Infinity War?
I'm trying to think if he
Where he
did.
died.
Yeah. Did he? He didn't ruin No Way Home.
I'm trying to think. I do remember like that happening, but I can't remember
Yeah,
what it
I
was.
can't remember. Like I remember Mark Ruffalo's.
I mean,
Yeah. I
remember
Tom
that.
Holland thinks on the list with Ruffalo, like notorious. Like you don't tell him anything, and you don't let him do any interviews.
Don't do what he wants, yeah. Maybe it was something like he said something about Far From Home before everyone knew he was coming back or something,
Yeah.
for sure. Maybe something
I
like that.
googled like what did Tom Holland spoil, and everyone's just talking about how it's like a marketing gag. It's not the headlines aren't naming anything. Either way, what was my question was there any other cameos that
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
wanted to like that you think deserve an honorable mention because there's a ton in this.
I mean, X-23 was cool.
I didn't even know there was an Electra movie until this movie came out. I was like, was that from something? I was like, there's an Electra movie.
Canned Electra movie.
Yeah.
Supposed to be somewhat based on the original Electra, but I think they were going to tie
I
it
was
in to the new Daredevil.
Hoping we were going to
Oh,
get
really?
the original Daredevil make a comeback.
Oh, Ben
that's-
Affleck.
Surprised they didn't.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. All right. Well, hey, that takes me into like my next one. Was there a cameo that you thought? Because Jonah, you mentioned tons of fan service. I mentioned how audiences are complaining. Some people are. I think they're just being babies that there's too much fan service. Was there a cameo that you thought was unnecessary, over the line, just like because that seems to be what some of the discourse is that this is a junk food movie. There's too much fan service, and so my question is at what point does fan service become too much? Did you have a moment like that?
No, I didn't. I think, like you said, this is like a junk food movie, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's it's a movie you can sit down, shut your brain off, enjoy it. We haven't had that in a while.
Yeah.
Everything has to be so cut and dry and serious, and you have to shoehorn the multiverse in and all these plot lines. Like, just let it happen. Let it free flow.
I recently learned about candy salad where like everyone shows up and brings like a different
Oh, yeah,
bag
yeah,
of
yeah, the
candy,
trend,
and then you dump it in and mix it up, and like this movie was candy salad.
Like,
Yeah, but it's candy.
Was Ryan Reynolds stirring the pot? Like
Yeah.
it was
does it have a lot of substance? Not really, but it's
not
a
really.
good time.
I didn't care. It had no substance. I was fine with
Like
it.
we needed something fun.
Okay, so if we don't have that moment, that does take me into the question I accidentally asked earlier. I read ahead. So I asked what our favorite cameo was. What was your favorite moment? And I wanted to separate these because my favorite moment doesn't revolve around a cameo. So what was your guys' favorite moment in the film?
Oof.
I can go first if I need to.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
you go first. Yeah.
My favorite moment in the film was right before Ryan Reynolds is about to go sacrifice. Deadpool, keep calling him. That's the thing. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
Yeah,
like
they're one of the same.
Deadpool is
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. Deadpool's about to go sacrifice himself, and then Wolverine's like, "No, I got this," and it's like blah 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 blah. And Deadpool. This is where it will play in. Why I keep mixing those up. Deadpool's like, "Hey, buddy, you're the best Wolverine. Like, you're the best one." And in that scene, I could be wrong, but I kind of felt, because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are like BFFs. Like they're like the best of bros outside of this film. And in that moment, I didn't feel like it was Deadpool talking to Wolverine in the film. I felt like that was Ryan Reynolds thanking Hugh for coming back and giving Wolverine another send off.
One more
Yeah,
time.
just-
Even though Logan was great.
Yeah. I felt like that was the actors talking to each other in the moment. Maybe I'm totally reading into that too
Yeah.
much, but that's what I got from that scene. And that was the only time in the scene that I got like goosebumps. I'm getting them just a little bit now. Thinking about just like all the stuff that led up to that moment and then how goofy this movie was, but we still had that really heartfelt moment
Like
in it.
you got to
Thought that
think, Hugh Jackman has been Wolverine for 24 years now.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
Crazy amount of time.
Yeah. Well, and then I'll go back to that comment later here. So, okay. So that was my favorite moment. You guys have what was your
it's
favorite
tough.
moment?
This whole movie is just, I don't know. How do you just pick one? That's
Just pick one.
I mean, that's the thing though.
Throw a dart and just kind of see what
pick-
movie you land on. Yeah.
Man, I did like the little montage, like when they were showing Deadpool, like when he first got to the where did he go? What was the name of the place that he went? The
TVA.
TVA.
Yeah.
Or it's showing like, hey, you're going to this universe now. It's the MCU, and it's shows all like the
sacred timeline.
sacred timeline. It's like all the classic MCU clips. Like, good old times. Like
Yeah.
the good old days.
Notice how they showed very little, if any, from new stuff.
the new stuff.
It was
Yeah,
all
because
pre-game.
Marvel knows. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that was really cool.
Even though they also liked the recurring gag of, you're going to do this till you're 90.
Which
Maybe.
I figured like Hugh would come out and be like, yeah, I'm done. But like Kevin Feige said, as of right now, there's no plans to recast Wolverine. So I was like, poor Hugh. Maybe he actually did like
Maybe he's like
get
got himself
back
stuck in. Yeah.
My thing is like,
He seems to enjoy
Henry,
himself.
I know Henry Cavill looked good as Wolverine. Would people accept anyone else being Wolverine other than Hugh Jackman since he's been the character for so long?
I think people are open to it at this point.
I think people would accept Cavill. He's one of few. I think there's like Henry Cavill, Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito would be awesome. No, I think fans love Henry Cavill, and I think one of the reasons they love him is his attention to detail and respect for IP.
Yeah.
Like when he was
He
like
was a great Superman.
He's a big nerd.
he's a huge nerd. Like his respect for everything that he gets involved in. You'll regularly, when he was working on The Witcher, you'll regularly read interviews where cast people said that he would carry around his personal copies of the books on the set and like correct things.
Yeah.
And that's eventually what kind of ended up, I think, based off of rumors, because he's a good guy and he's never outright just like been like, I hate these guys. But it seems like the reason he left is because he didn't feel like they were staying true to what the Witcher show should be. So I think that he's earned respect of audiences. I think Cavill would be a good.
Yeah, I mean, he looked good. And he even
good.
said it before, like when Deadpool was walking up to him, he goes, "Man, this guy's the whole package." He's like really hyping him up, like Cavalrine.
Oh yeah,
They've thrown around Daniel Radcliffe too as a fan cast.
No,
You don't like that one?
no,
No,
Give him some mutton chops and the hair.
That's terrible.
You know? You don't like that one?
no. Maybe it's just because
I
I'm
could
thinking
see
of
it.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter
Harry
with
Potter.
claws, but
That's terrible.
You don't like that one? I mean, I could see it. I like Cavill more.
I think
Daniel Radcliffe. I misspelled Radcliffe as Wolverine. It popped up. What?
It's a big one. It's him and Cavill are the biggest ones I've heard.
it better be Cavill then if they're redoing it.
I'm down for a shorty. Okay, well, hang on. That sounds like talking about a girl. I'm down. I'm down for a short guy to do it.
No, I'm gonna turn this so that the potential audience
He's
can
too.
watch.
He's a little too pretty in that one.
He's a pretty boy.
Yeah, it's too much of a pretty boy.
Okay, that doesn't look bad.
Yeah, that one's not bad.
If you go off of looks alone, I can maybe
Slap some sideburns on that guy. He'll be all right.
If you go off of looks alone, I can maybe
Yeah.
kind of see it.
He doesn't look deranged enough.
That outfit there doesn't really make him look like a tough guy there.
we're in like some Ralph Lauren stuff. I just don't think he has charisma, but I don't think he has like the rough, tough,
The gruff.
So
gruff,
yeah.
synonym of
Doesn't have the grit.
Wolverine,
The grit, yeah. That's the word I'm looking
and
for.
maybe he does. Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit.
Yeah.
Whoever is casting Henry Cavill, if he gets cast, if he auditions, great, do it. That would not in a million years be anyone that I think would be a good pick for that, though, without seeing it.
Yeah, when you show the pictures, some of those pictures, I'm like, I don't know.
Are there any cameos or anything you wish were in this movie?
Cameos I wish were in this movie.
Or like things that they would have done? Because I have some.
I think I wouldn't have minded to have seen some non-Marvel cameos. Like, I know this is a Marvel movie, but I think with how wacky we were getting, we referenced pop culture all the time.
Mad Max.
We referenced Mad Max, and he joked about IP infringement. I think it would have been kind of cool to have like had Voldemort at like the lair at the end. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about Harry Potter. I think that like having some non-Marvel stuff could have opened the door for some really funny shenanigans.
Getting really silly with it.
Yeah.
My thought was when he was going through and getting like trying to find a Wolverine, he should have went into the cartoon.
Yeah.
X-Men,
yeah.
like
Really
X-Men
neat.
97,
That would have been cool.
and try to get
Like Marvel What If.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
Like, I mean, they're making new episodes for X-Men 97, so like you
It's
just
apparently really
make
good.
one.
Oh, I
with-
watched
make one
it.
with
It's so
Deadpool,
good.
Like
It's
a
really good.
30-second clip with Deadpool in it.
My problem is it's been so long since I've watched the original X-Men cartoon.
I've never seen it. You
I
just kinda
remember
jump into
liking
it.
the original
Yeah.
X-Men cartoon.
Yeah, I need to go back and rewatch it, and then I want to get caught up on 97.
Yeah.
I've heard
I
really
saw
good
that
things.
Hugh Jackman recreated the Wolverine looking at the picture meme, though.
Yeah, he
Yeah, that
did.
was pretty good.
And
Yeah.
I've decided that's my new favorite form of meme is actors imitating internet memes. So we have like the Spider-Man people pointing at each other meme, and now we have Hugh Jackman like looking
the
at
picture.
the picture.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Yeah, it was cool.
So did you say your favorite part? Did you
Yeah,
get out of the
them looking
question?
at the scenes, yeah.
I think you.
Oh, the scenes.
The Marvel
Your
scenes.
favorite
yeah.
scene.
Oh yeah. Like,
Oh, you said the TVs.
yeah. The
Yeah.
little nostalgia of like nostalgia.
Yeah.
Time,
Did
yeah.
you get to say yours, Jonah?
No, I'm trying to think of it. I think if I had to pick one, these are kind of basic picks because they're all like, fight scenes, but the opening fight is so like creative and funny with his corpse, the adamantium bones.
Did you
Like-
see NSYNC? Is it NSYNC?
Yeah.
Yeah, NSYNC changed like the YouTube thing to like include Deadpool and
Deadpool and
Wolverine
Wolverine.
in
That's cool.
parentheses after the title.
Nice.
That
That was so good. Like, yeah.
soundtrack was fire in this.
It was really
movie.
good, yeah.
It was really good.
Very like
Madonna.
Guardians of the Galaxy esque.
Iris, the Goo Goo Dolls, classic.
I don't know why. It's Madonna, I think it was there at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know why. The way they had edited it, it sounded like the Robot Unicorn Adult Swim game we'd always play.
Yeah, like you whispered that to me. I'm like,
Find your dreams, it'll be no shame. I could have swore that was it, and I was like,
Whoa.
"Are they
Deep cut.
actually playing this?" And then I realized it was not that song, and I
Madonna.
was kind of sad.
Dang.
But it fit really well, though. I always
I
have
thought it was a banger in that fight scene.
such respect. I should look up who did that later because I need to look it up for Guardians as well. I have so much respect for people who can pick songs, like actual songs and music, and be like, this will fit perfectly with this scene.
This scene, yeah.
Like, and that has to be done fairly early in the writing process, I'd imagine, for a movie like this and Guardians to like incorporate it around the music. It's such a cool talent. Like, I respect that.
I did laugh at the beginning where it's like he's going to get Logan's corpse.
He was like, how are we going to do this respectfully?
We're not.
Yeah. Then it's
That's the only way to handle that, though.
Yeah,
I'm
do a
like-
joke about it.
I'm like, man, they're about to undo Logan here. I'm like, oh.
Nope, they're not.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to handle that because Logan is one of my favorite movies. Like, period.
So you don't want to ruin what that movie what it ended with.
And I
Yeah.
don't think they did.
They didn't.
No.
They made it
It's
funny.
like you were so disrespectful that it was still respectful and it was really funny.
I'm like, you know
almost,
what?
yeah.
Only Deadpool can make this work.
Yeah.
It's true.
If it was a
was
serious
hilarious.
movie and they dug up the corpse, I would be a little mad. But
Yeah.
But they did it very well. So that was favorite scenes. We've done a lot of positive talking, and I want to keep the positive talking going. I think it's good that we keep getting off on tangents. I feel like when we go off on a bunch of tangents, it's because we really like the film.
Yeah.
When we're like, all right, let's get this podcast episode done, like that's when we tend to not like it as much. So I think it's good we're going off on tangents. I do want to talk about, though, like, did anyone have a least favorite scene? Because this movie was not perfect, had plenty of problems. We just kind of ignored them because we liked the movie. Did anyone have a least favorite scene? And I don't mind to go first again if you guys don't have one.
I would say, like, there's a couple times where it felt like the main threat was, like, changing. It seemed.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like, I don't know which one's the main villain in this story. And it turns out to be, whatever, the bald lady.
Yeah, it kind of. Like, she ended up being the final one, but you're right.
It's like, are we fighting this other guy in the suit that you thought was Brendan Fraser at first? Or?
He looked like Brendan Fraser when they were in the interrogation scene. It looked like Brendan Fraser lost a lot of weight, and I was like, "Is that?" And my brain was telling me it wasn't, but yet it was, and I was like, "Oh, that's not Brendan Fraser, right?"
I'm like, no, it's not.
It's like, no.
I didn't see what you were seeing.
I don't know.
But
okay, yeah, the villain kind of changed. So you did that. That's a critique. Did you have a least favorite like scene or moment, or just like the villains in general?
Not really. I mean, really, the villains I didn't mind. Like the villains, like even like I thought like what was the girl's name? The female Professor X.
I looked her up because
I think it was Cassandra Nova.
Cassandra Nova.
Yeah.
She at first I didn't like her, and then she grew on me. It was like
She was cool. I don't know. Evil Professor X is really cool.
I've never actually seen comic book Evil Professor X, but I mean, like that's kind of wacky.
She's creepy.
Kind of cool.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
that's the.
I don't know too much about her, but like the actress who played her,
At first I didn't like her, and then I'm like, she's growing on me.
she looked so familiar, but I didn't.
I
know
thought
what
it was
I'd
Joey King
seen
at
her.
first.
A little bit,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Like I couldn't place this. We were driving home. I was like, who's the person playing Hot Professor X?
Yeah.
And Cole's like, hot, and I said, yeah, she was. I don't know what it was.
It's the
she was doing it
confidence.
for me. I don't know what
Yeah,
it was.
I can see that. It's it's the confidence.
I don't think I'd want her to reach through my head like she did.
Yeah,
No, that was a
fog
little
on my
weird.
brain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a little odd.
it was a lot. But no, yeah. Her being the final villain in the last
Like that makes
30
sense, 'cause she
minutes
was,
of the movie was a little odd. I'll give you that.
Well, I think it made sense. Like it just seemed like it went back and forth on like who am I supposed to be like seen as the main threat here?
Yeah, it's like Evil Professor X, and then it had the TVA, and then it had the Deadpool.
And the TVA was like just a comedy person at the end, and then he was
Yeah,
See, I didn't like it because I felt like we defeated the villain, and now we're going to go defeat the main villain.
yeah.
And then they were like, hey, I know you just beat her, but now you got to beat her again. And I didn't love that.
It's like faces
yeah.
in a boss. It's like
Kind of, yeah. Like, I didn't love that. I would have much preferred to have seen something happen to her, or like her to join sides with them, or like Cole. I don't know why they didn't bring in Professor X. Like, people I would have loved to have seen. I mentioned that in the car. I would have loved to have seen Patrick Stewart make an appearance as Professor X, because in Deadpool's universe, in theory,
he's dead.
oh no, he did die, didn't he, in Logan?
But yeah, the timeline's weird.
And
It
that
doesn't really add
timeline,
up.
it-
I was going to talk about that later. Yeah,
You can't think about that's another thing I put in here is if we're going by the Logan timeline, in the Logan movie, almost all of the mutants are dead.
and wasn't Professor X like briefly in 2? Like when they're in the mansion, he's like, "We need another
Yeah.
X-Men," and then the Professor X closes the door or
It-
something. Yeah,
It immediately falls apart when you think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
100%. And they said that they confirmed that Logan is their universe's anchor being.
Mm-hmm.
So this would imply that this movie takes place post Logan.
yeah, because it's starting to deteriorate.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I can think of is like maybe this movie takes place before Logan and they're grabbing Deadpool early. I don't know.
Maybe.
I really.
that's tough.
Because like the way I understand, like
As soon as you think about it, it doesn't work.
in Loki, those things, the thing that he stole, the Tim pad, can go through time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like you're right. Maybe he goes to the future when he dies or something.
Yeah.
But then why wouldn't he just go to his? Yeah, you're right. That falls apart if you think about it at all.
Either way, though, that's okay. I would have liked to have seen Patrick Stewart make an appearance and then maybe had a like come together moment with Cassandra. Be like, hey, I always felt like I had a twin, or I love you, and like had a moment. Like I would have liked to have seen that instead of like Cassandra boss fight part 2.
Yeah.
which was a beam battle. I hate beam battles, and I know it wasn't actually a beam battle.
Yeah.
But it was essentially a beam battle. Does that make sense when I say
that
beam
makes
battle?
sense, yeah.
I hate those. Like when it's like willpower, you can't show it, so it's just people screaming like and grunting like Dragon Ball style. Never been a fan of those, so I hate that like the big final fight of the movie was that.
Because there was some really cool fight scenes in this movie.
Yeah, the Deadpool fight scene was really
The
cool.
one with all the Deadpools is
Awesome fight scenes in this movie. Yeah, so I think it would have been really cool to have, I don't know, not ended on, well, it was an emotional scene, but what was essentially holding hands.
Yeah.
My least favorite scene though was I put the 3 scenes Vanessa's in, because Deadpool 2.
Oh, yeah.
You said you haven't seen Deadpool 2, right?
Not all the way through.
Deadpool 2 has a shockingly, and Deadpool 1 a little bit, has a shockingly good like romance story to it. Like with him coping with loss and like making the relationship work. So I hated that we started off this movie with them having broken up. And then Cassandra felt kind of shallow, and I didn't know how to feel about her. So I wish they either would have had them stay together and then just not talked about their relationship, or say they broke up and then just not had her in the movie. I feel like her scenes didn't add anything. If anything, it made me just kind of like not enjoy the scenes that she was in, trying to think about their relationship. So that was mine. Did you have a least favorite scene or moment?
I can't really think of one. I mean, there wasn't really one that I like straight up didn't like, really, you know? I mean,
there's a lot to like in this movie.
there's a lot to like. Like, I'm like,
I mean, him interviewing for the Avengers is just golden.
that okay,
was good.
Honestly, like, I'm trying to think. I mean, if I had to pick a scene that was my least favorite, maybe it was that, because it felt like it was. I mean, it is setting up his like, oh, I want to matter kind of, but it I still like the Happy Hogan cameo, but that one almost seemed more like, oh, let's get an MCU thing in there now that we can, almost kind of maybe.
Oh,
but I don't
also,
know.
the sacred timeline is implied to be the sacred timeline because it's like the one where they beat Thanos and Iron Man died.
Yes.
It's like it
So-
was something like that. And Loki kind of explains it. I don't know if you've seen Loki.
So, yes, I did. Or season 1 at least. Hear me out here.
Okay.
So the sacred timeline is the one where they beat Thanos. Iron Man dies. Spider-Man is like kind of somewhat taking his place. And like we're moving on with the current phase, right?
Correct.
That's where he was interviewing.
Mm-hmm.
But yet then they say later, we're pulling you from this universe, the one where Logan happens, and going to bring you to the sacred timeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense how he got there for the interview.
I mean, unless it's just like a total fourth wall break, like, hey, I'm trying to get into the MCU.
yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like he's just Deadpool. Like, did he walk?
Once again, I don't care a ton for this movie. Because of what this movie is, I don't really care. But like it does.
I think that's more
Now
of
that I'm looking at it, it's like,
How did he get there?
oh,
Yeah.
like it's really messy.
You're
Yeah.
looking at like the time frame that it was in 2018, so that would have been about a year. I think about a year after it came out, or Deadpool came out, because it came out in probably a year or two. So that'd probably be like, hey, get him in the MCU. I like to think of it that way, like.
So
hey,
you're saying
I'm trying to get into the MCU.
there's
here.
a timeline running adjacent to the sacred timeline that's almost the sacred timeline,
Yes.
just like a minor difference.
Yes.
Like I don't, yeah. And I guess you could look at it that way. I think like
I just think it was more of a fourth wall break kind of thing.
it is. And once again,
Like
this
trying to be
movie's-
like, hey, let me in here. Like, we're not letting you in, dude. Sorry, you don't matter.
Yeah.
yeah, this movie's so goofy it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like it's Deadpool also. It's like a kind of his thing to kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I do wish maybe a tad bit more attention had been paid to that, but that's just me being nitpicky.
Yeah.
It's just,
On that
it
note,
was goofy fun.
I'll go ahead and just rapid fire my 4. I only had 4 dots of like complaints on my notes as we were leaving. I'm glad Cole was willing to drive. That way I could type them out because I had to bring a notepad to Twisters.
Yeah.
But the movie felt a little bit bloated on the runtime, and part of that was because the pacing was wacky. I think the movie was only like 2 hours long. But
Yeah, I mean, it
felt long.
it felt like we were like dead sprint. Like, we're going bang, 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 and then we started slowing down towards the end, started chugging along. Like,
yeah,
we're overstaying our welcome a little bit here.
it's got a
Yeah.
rough like last third that I think could have been trimmed down. So a bit bloated, pacing was wacky. We're two different points though. Very poor romance. I talked about that with Vanessa. And then my other one, this is nitpicking. A wizard ring shouldn't be able to leave the void because the void doesn't exist on the material plane.
Yeah. And
Like it exists like outside of time.
You can the portals go through space, not time or dimensions.
If I understood Loki correctly, the void exists in like a pocket outside of the universe, outside of reality, kind of.
Yeah, and then in Doctor Strange too, he couldn't go through. The America girl had to go through dimensions. He couldn't do any of that either.
Yeah. To have the wizard ring just like conveniently
take them back to their universe,
exactly to where we needed to be too. But, the Cassandra knew
Marvel sparkly thing though.
Cassandra not only knew like what universe they were from, she knew exactly where in the timeline and where the villain had set up his machine underneath the subway. So that's once again, that's nitpicking. I loved this movie. I am willing to put on my suspension of disbelief. I don't just have a hat for this movie, like a full like heavy armor plate mail suspension of disbelief plate.
Like,
yes.
If it was like a more serious Marvel movie, nitpick it. For what it is though, Deadpool where it's not supposed to be,
those things
it doesn't take itself seriously.
They just bounce off for this one, yeah.
And you know what? I'll allow it.
So we went over favorite scenes, we went over least favorite scenes. Is there just any other scenes you guys want to talk about? I think the fight scenes were really good. Joni mentioned that earlier.
I like those.
And what I loved about, with the exception of the TVA, the big fight scene at the end, I think I'd need to...
With all the Deadpools?
I guess not before that. So when they're about to leave the void.
Oh, with when they're fighting...
Cassandra's men.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I need to watch the movie again. That's the thing. I feel like this is a movie I can watch 3 times, and I'm going to find something every time, which is awesome.
You catch the little Greatest Showman song.
Yes. You know what? I would have missed it if you hadn't called it out, though. You called it out, but that was really good. I felt like most of the villains in that final fight weren't nameless nobodies. Almost all of them, and I need to rewatch it to double confirm this, were from the franchise somewhere. It was a lot of X-Men people, but they weren't just like nobody hobos that were just
Devil Fellow and
that was supposed to be
Nightcrawler.
It wasn't Nightcrawler. It's like his villain, right?
Nightcrawler's
something like that.
blue. So
Nightcrawler's daddy or something.
I think Nightcrawler has a like nemesis that's red. I might be misremembering that. Matt, if you ever watch this, please correct us. But yeah, it seemed like every person for the most part was from a franchise somewhere. They weren't just thrown in like body doubles.
Yeah, back person. There was like a Psylocke woman like grabbed X-23 or something. Yeah,
and then I keep seeing that apparently the Deadpool fight scene, a lot of the Deadpools are
Aziel. Aziel is the red Nightcrawler.
Okay,
okay,
gotcha. But see, I would have never known that. I just knew that Nightcrawler had a guy that was very similar to him, but just red, because that's Marvel's thing. Fight yourself, but blue, or like just different color. But like the scene where they're fighting all the Deadpools, I keep seeing. I've seen like 20 at this point. Oh, this Deadpool was actually Tom Holland's brother. This Deadpool was actually one of the Hemsworths wearing it. And I don't know if that one was true. That one was like, it seemed like a lot of the people were friends and family of the cast and crew and of Marvel family, like extended family.
Yeah.
They weren't just like, here's an open call, come show up in a Deadpool costume. It seems like they actually put some people who are important to the Marvel franchise in that scene, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. Man, a lot to love about this movie, a lot to love. If I rapid fire off my good things, I love just the big ones here. We broke the fourth wall a lot, but we had some fifth wall breaks, meaning like we're getting meta about the meta. So like the fact that like the crew at the end was like canned Marvel projects, that's not just breaking the fourth wall and acknowledging you're in a movie. That is like acknowledging that you're in a movie and acknowledging the franchise that made it, and then the executives making decisions.
Yeah.
I love that.
Getting deep, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so good.
Bunch of characters that deserved better.
Yeah. And then I think everything else on here we talked about. So, I mean, I think I've said what I need to say about this movie. It's great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I mean, I'm trying to think. The only like nitpicks I have, like they're like you said, the only things I didn't like, they're like super nitpicky nitpicks, like the nitpickiest of nitpickiest nitpickers.
Would you say they're nitpicks?
They're nitpicks.
Okay.
But like I'm trying to think of ones
just
like
making sure.
the final fight, the fight with the Deadpools.
Yes.
It looks like it was one shot. And then in the middle of it cuts to the blind lady, and he goes, "I wish I was deaf." Now, like, it was funny, but I was like, man, I feel like it kind of interrupts the one shot. It would have been way cooler if it just like was one shot. That's very nitpicky.
I didn't view it as one shot, but like you're right. I think it was kind of implied as that.
Like the side scrolling the entire time.
Side scrolling shot.
You're right.
Side scrolling beat 'em up style.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, the rest of them are just nitpicky stuff.
I mean,
like,
some of the CG.
I think like the location, like it's a cool idea,
Yeah.
but a lot of the movie is just in like a wasteland, I guess. But like,
Yeah.
it didn't bother me that much. But if I had to nitpick something,
Yeah. I mean, I would nitpick the CG a little bit.
I thought it looked good
In general,
personally.
there's a couple times I thought, and it could have been like we saw this in 3D. I don't know if it was the 3D glasses just like screwing with me or what.
yeah,
It
like-
said this had a production budget of $200 million, so that's really in the grand
Like,
scheme of things not that much.
When it was like more in particular when they ripped Evans' skin off his body.
yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
goofy.
That one, I mean, it's a goofy scene. It looked goofy. That was
yeah,
Yeah,
valid. I thought that the CG looked better in this than several
it
other
still looked good.
Marvel
Oh, yeah.
projects I've seen, which I thought was shocking because I knew they didn't have a ton of money for this one as much as for other ones. The fight choreo was really good. Like
Yeah.
they tried to use as little CG, it felt like, for some of the fights, like especially the fights between Deadpool and Wolverine. Whoever choreographed the fights, I applaud you. Those were really good.
yeah. I feel like they had a lot of fun with the choreography too. Like a lot of, I don't know, just fun stuff. Like when like Wolverine falls on top of him and then he pulls out the guns. Like Deadpool's under him, and goes like bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just funny stuff.
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
Man, good movie.
Yeah.
Good movie.
We haven't
Fun
had
time.
we haven't had a good one in a while.
yeah.
Oh, which is so sad to think about.
I mean,
Well-
probably our last good one was Turtles. That was almost a year ago.
I like Turtles. That's that new one.
The animated one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Turtles.
Is it like
to say?
that YouTube video? I like
I like Turtles.
Turtles.
I think the other. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just gonna say Turtle Mayhem got an 83.
I-
Spider, yeah, that was the last one that we reviewed. Well, you're right.
Positive.
Everything else went.
Yeah, we had a bad streak there. Well, you guys had a bad streak. I remember hopping
Jonah's
over.
taking credit for what
Yeah.
Josh did.
I,
now.
I remember hopping over Finance of Phrase and being like, man, this was a stinker.
Dude, if I wasn't preparing for school to start, I would have loved to have written a script where we had got Josh to come in for 5 minutes and then had the Doctor Strange portal open and Jonah walk through and it's alternate timeline Jonah takes over the movie rubric. I think that would have fit in well with the theme of the show.
Josh,
That's leading to that. This movie was a better Multiverse of Madness than Multiverse of Madness was.
oh yeah. I was gonna say actually,
Yes.
you said earlier people were complaining about there's a ton of cameos, and I think because it's Deadpool, all of the cameos, if all in Multiverse of Madness, I feel like the scene with the Illuminati, it is kind of okay, I feel like we kind of just took a detour to see some cameos. But this movie, I feel like all of the cameos are
They make sense for the tone of this movie.
yeah, it's a comedy, so all of the cameos are fuel for Deadpool to make jokes,
Yeah.
and do meta stuff, So I feel like even though they're, it's just I feel like it makes a lot more sense here, and it doesn't feel like we're forcing cameos. It feels like this would happen in a Deadpool movie with the multiverse.
I was, which it was a long stretch, and I've said it. I think I've said it on the podcast before, of rumors cameos that people wanted. People wanted a Spider-Man cameo. They wanted Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to be with Deadpool.
Oh,
and
that would've been good.
Imagine the back and forth between Deadpool and that version of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
That would have been good.
Peak.
would have been really good. Yeah, I think there's a lot of Spider-Man Deadpool comics there that a lot of people really like.
The people will, to use Elena's terminology, ship them pretty often, and
Yeah.
either a bromance or something like that, kind of pair them together. So
Yeah, I think that would work really well if they wanted to do that. Obviously, I'm not going to say no to it.
it would have. It is kind of shocking that they didn't get.
But I think the whole running theme was remember all these failed.
Yeah, so you think they didn't want to bring them in because they're too successful right now?
Yeah, they don't want. It doesn't fit with the tone then because.
It's valid.
No one. I mean, yeah, it works for an Avengers movie because these are all well established. These are guys that either you forgot about or just got done dirty and didn't get the movie they deserved.
Speaking of getting done dirty, I was thinking about it this morning, the Sabretooth fight.
Yeah, that was quick.
Sabretooth got done dirty. I was like, oh,
you guys have been waiting years for this, and he gets
Immediately
buried.
dies.
It's
finally are getting this fight. One move.
Yeah,
Which is how that should play out.
yeah.
yeah.
It's weird to me. Some people love Sabretooth. To me, he's just what's he got going for him?
He's a big burly guy.
You got way worse claws,
Yeah.
Not as cool as Wolverine.
Yeah, now it's cool.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't know. That scene just reminded me. The after credit scene was Deadpool catching a Human Torch, saying all that stuff. It was so surreal to watch Chris Evans talk like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
the,
it was
the Boy
so
Scout.
Man, potty mouth, dude.
Dang,
so funny.
yeah. That was a good post credit scene. I like that.
That was good. That was one of the
Yeah.
few times I was like, I'm glad I stayed for the post credits.
Yeah,
I
that
like-
was funny.
Like these allegations of saying that I got the Human Torch killed.
That was funny, man. All right. Well, I mean, I've said what I need to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we plug it into the rubric?
I don't think
Nope.
so.
Okay, let's address something. I hope this isn't going to be something that would change regularly, but for a while, Cole and I, and Josh, when he was here, I think he voiced this as well. We talked about maybe changing the rubric just a little bit because we had plot, characters, direction, continuity, and enjoyment. And then regularly, very often, continuity falls under plot. And then we'd always talk about the audio. We'd always talk about visuals, and we kind of lump them together. And, so like this might change again, bear in mind. But I think we're going to try it for this. So the new categories for this episode, we have plot, which includes things like continuity or nitpicks, about this and that. Like all of that can go under there. Characters, pretty straightforward. Like how are the actors portraying the characters? Were they acted well? Do you think they were written well? Do you like the characters? Because sometimes you just like don't like a character. Visuals and audio, I think, are pretty self-explanatory. Visuals can be cinematography. It can be the CGI. It can be just how pretty and stylized it was. And that used to kind of be direction a little bit, but I think that it should have its own category. And then audio, we thought should have its own category too, because we always talk about the soundtracks and the sound design of movies. I think it's good to give them its own category. Audio to me feels like the weakest of them on here, but I do think that the audio kind of deserves its own slot, unless you guys think of another thing to put there.
Nope.
And then last but not least, enjoyment. We've talked about in the past weighting enjoyment. I don't think we should weight it for right now, but I think it should be just be its own category, but enjoyment's just going to stay the same.
We're just going to keep saying it's the most important, even though it's not really doing much different.
Even though it's not doing much different. Yeah, it's despite the other four categories, how did you feel about the movie? So, all right.
Gotcha.
So with that being said, I'll start us off. I'll do plot. I'm going to give plot a 4. All of my nitpicks have to do with like continuity and like the Vanessa romance scenes and stuff like that. I would say plot for me is hands down the weakest part of this movie.
Yeah.
But because of the nature of the movie, it doesn't matter that much. In a different film, the continuity issues would earn this a 3. But for what this film is, it's easily a 4. Consider just giving it a 5 to be nice, but I think it's not a perfect movie. That's where I'm going to put my biggest ding. Plot from me is getting a 4. Cole?
I would agree with that. I'm also going to give it a 4. There's plot holes, but for what this movie is, like you said, it's not gonna rail on a Deadpool movie that breaks the 4th wall and the 5th wall in this movie, and
I hope in Deadpool 4 they break the 6th wall.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I hope they
figure it out.
or
Yeah.
hope they have like someone like hidden in
the movie theater.
There's like
as
an actor.
Yeah,
Like
something.
Deadpool looks out into the audience and like he stands up and responds to the screen. That'd actually be so, if you're watching Hollywood, Ryan,
that would be the
Costs
most
a lot of money.
elaborate thing.
that would be so good.
Sign me up to play a Deadpool.
I will. That'd be
For the-
so cool. I don't think they could keep that big pin/tangent. I was watching the Hot Ones episode. Did you watch that?
Which one?
The one with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds?
Is that new?
Within the past
So
week.
you
Oh,
told
no, I
me
haven't
about
seen it yet. No.
I love Hot Ones, but what Ryan Reynolds talked about on that show, something they almost did, I wish they would have. He said they had created posters and marketing for a movie called like Alpha Cop.
I heard about this.
And they even like had shot some test footage for it, and it was gonna just look terrible. Like it was not gonna look like a good movie. And then like 10 minutes in, they would like kill off the people and it would turn into Deadpool and Wolverine.
That would have been hilarious.
He said the reason they didn't do it is because he was like, what if it leaked right before the movie came out? It just kind of killed the whole joke. I so wish they would have done it though. That would have been so cool.
I just imagine like opening week. You look at like the financials, like opening weekend at like the opening day has like no money, and then like word gets out, and then like the next few days it just shoots up. Everyone
Yeah,
goes to
I'd
the
just be
theater.
like sitting on my couch on a Friday and I'd read like Alpha
Deadpool,
Cop.
Wolverine now, yeah.
I feel like some people would try to hide it well. Like you'd get some people like IGN that'd be like, "Trust us, you need to go see Alpha Cop."
Yeah.
Well, I would quickly be ruined by the internet.
Yeah.
So I wish they'd done that. So okay, Cole, you're giving to 4. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like I thought of that and I feel like that was worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 for plot for me.
Okay, Jonah.
I'm gonna give it.
There's the meme face. Yeah, that's it.
I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4.
Yo, that build up just to...
Yeah. I'm actually going to say 3. I'm going to say 3. I changed my mind.
Man,
I'm
pretty much
3.
hated this movie.
It's hard to phonate on a, so I don't blame you for doing the 4. Phonate's a fun word. I forgot. I didn't know I had that word in me.
Fun. Okay.
Phonate.
I can't
means
even
to
say
like
phonate.
buzz on like a z, like a z, or like a v, like a
like stay on a
yeah, on like a sound. It's called phonate.
Yeah, it is harder.
Call that buffering.
But I'm gonna give it a 3 because I think a lot of the enjoyment, like you said, obviously there's continuity stuff. I can't really knock it that much. I feel like a lot of the enjoyment is more from the characters and like the action. I feel like the plot of like, they weren't bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like the character arcs weren't bad. Of like Deadpool wanting to matter and everything, wasn't bad or anything. But it just wasn't like, I don't think that was the shining part of the movie. If I don't know if I'm making any sense here.
No, totally. Yeah. I almost gave it a 3 because we talked about that bloat and the pacing, especially in that last third and changing of the villains. Maybe if I hadn't liked the movie, maybe I am being too subjective.
I mean, I think a 4 star. I almost said 4, like you said.
I'm gonna keep it a 4 because I've mulled on a 4. I almost gave it a 3.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, though. I think plot's like probably the weakest part.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think that plot is where this movie struggles the most. Does it struggle enough to knock it down to a 3 for me? It very easily could. If this was any other movie, easily would be a 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But because of how this movie did not want to take itself seriously, I'm going to respect that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
I'm not going to knock it off for like the continuity issues. I'm mainly knocking it off for like the pacing getting a little weak and
a little
the last
wonky.
third.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we have a 4, 4, 3. Cole, why don't you start us off with this next one? Characters.
5.
5.
Everyone was great in this. It was like there was not a single character that I can really say anything like bad about. Even Peter was great.
Even Peter was great.
With his weird chain that he has connected. That hurts when you tug on it.
That's so good. That was hilarious. I'm also going to say 5. Like I said, I think that was one of the strongest parts. Everyone gave me a smile.
I'm also easily a 5. Yeah. It's hard not to. With the exception of Vanessa, everyone in this movie is just there to have fun and to be goofy.
Vanessa's just a very
throwaway character.
She's there, she exists, but like you're not paying attention.
Yeah, like I think, and what I really like more than anything is in addition to having all of these characters come back for these roles, it didn't feel like anyone phoned it in.
No, everyone
was having a great time.
Like everyone was just like new. I think Ryan Reynolds may have had a pep talk like, "Listen, guys, we don't need this to be super serious. It's gonna be goofy. The fans are gonna be happy to see you. Mm-hmm. Just go out and do your thing."
I felt like every single person who had dialogue gave it 100% when they were shooting their scene, and that's rare in a movie that wants to be taken seriously. It's even less rare in a movie, almost unheard of in a movie as goofy as this. This movie is essentially a scary movie.
Yeah,
kind of.
But everyone brought their A game. So
it's it reminds me of like the little clip that or the quote that Deadpool says in there, like, "Oh, Wolverine's wearing an outfit like he's not ashamed to be in a superhero movie."
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
20 years to get a comic accurate suit.
Yeah, get the cowl. Yeah.
The cowl looks
looked really good.
I like the cowl. Some people saying it looked goofy. I'm like, I thought it looked awesome.
I thought it looked
We
awesome.
waited so
cool.
long to get an actual live action Wolverine suit.
Yeah, I think it was great. Yeah.
Some people want to hate on the movie, and that they're allowed to. They're allowed to. But
They're allowed to be wrong, but
I mean, you're wrong.
Yeah. So no, I agree. Characters 5. Okay, 5's across the board. Jonah, start us off with this next one. Jonah, visuals.
You're
the first person to rank a visual category on the movie rubric. This is groundbreaking.
This is exciting.
Right
Put this on my resume.
Yeah, don't mess it up.
I'm gonna give visuals.
And before you say your thing, keep in mind it's not just CG.
Yes,
it's cinematography. For me, I'm lumping like fight choreo into this as well.
Yeah,
like it's kind of all the things that like how a movie looks that a director would handle. This is just direction broken up a little bit better. So take that however you will.
I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
Give it a 4. I'm only knocking it because, like I said, I think just like the environment of the void isn't the most like fascinating thing most of the time. A lot of times, just like, oh, there's in some random forest or a field.
It's a
most of
void.
the movie. Yeah, but like the fight choreography is awesome. They had a lot of fun with it, like them throwing Wolverine's bones at people. The car fight scene was hilarious. Very splattery and fun. But I mean, I would say 4, just like I said, because of that, and then. I mean, like cinematography wise, like camera movement wise, it doesn't do anything too crazy besides like the pan shot at the end, So I give it a 4. It's still really good, but I want to get not enough for me to say 5. It didn't blow my balls off or anything.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm kind of glad.
It's not
I'm
like
glad
Dune.
it didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah. For visuals, I'm a 5 here. I think that opening from the moment the movie kicked off with this first fight scene with him using the bones in super
Great
creative
scene.
ways, like
Yeah.
in the slow-mo. And then I know you don't like 3D. I will be the first to admit, I don't think this movie utilized 3D to the best of abilities. Like I've seen some movies that like, I hate that I can't go see it again without 3D.
yes,
But like
yeah,
this one, the 3D wasn't necessary, but it was nice from times. It wasn't, and what I really appreciate about it is it wasn't overdone. Sometimes when they just convert these movies to 3D, they overdo it.
like ooh,
Never felt
ooh.
like, yeah, I never felt like it was overdone. That opening fight scene with the, I don't know what that was either.
Can we make that part 3D just with
Yeah,
Jonah
kinda.
reaching out into the screen?
I am not talented enough to do 3D conversion, but Jonah, you have a degree in that, I think.
No
You
way.
can-
I have no idea how to do that.
But yeah, no, like I just feel like the fight choreo was really well done in this movie, and 200 million seems like a lot, but for Hollywood, that's really not as near as much money as it sounds like.
Yeah.
You guys, side note, do you guys see that this like in the opening like weekend made more than the Marvels did during its whole runtime?
Well, it's done better than that. I took a screenshot of
It surpassed it in like record time. Like
Yeah, I think I saw its biggest R-rated movie.
Deadpool and
Yeah.
Wolverine wins domestic box office with 205 million, biggest global R-rated opening weekend ever of 438.3 million. So
it's doing
nice.
all right for itself.
It's
Doing
doing
pretty
great.
good. Yeah.
It's on its first week, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's going to be around for a bit.
Thursday will be 1 week. So like this movie is smashing records and it deserves it. I think for me, visuals are a 5. Every now and then, maybe something didn't look perfect. The skin, you're right, looked maybe a little bit goofy.
Yeah.
But like all things considered, I thought that Ryan and the cinematographers and the directors, they did a really good job making this movie look good, working with what they had to work with.
Yeah.
And then a really big thing for me, once again, a huge plot point for me was that big fight scene at the end of the Void. And then again with Deadpool, I didn't feel like there was just like no-named people getting gibbed in the background, which you see so often in Marvel movies. Like
Yeah,
where
it's just like here's a big army, but
and
it's a
just
bunch
this-
of jobbers out there.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just felt like every fight scene was impactful and had weight. And so for me, visuals is a 5. So Cole?
I'm also gonna go with 5. I think some of like what I've seen like would be like kind of like goofy looking was probably the 3D.
Could have been, could have
So,
not been, yeah.
so I'm like, if I watch it after it comes to streaming or something, and it like still looks goofy, then I will redact my statement. But I'm gonna go with 5 for
when
right
we
now.
do the year in review,
Yeah.
you'll
like I apologize. It really didn't
It
look,
didn't
that,
look
good.
that good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 5 though because I'm have the 3D variable in there.
Okay. All right. I'll kick us back off again here. Audio. This movie didn't have a bunch of neat audio designs. Like we talked about Twister kind of making stuff feel like it was flying across the theater.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it really had much of a moment to kind of do that with this film.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack was phenomenal.
Yeah.
We had a problem with this movie again. AMC. I'm sick and tired of this. I really am. It was missing like an audio channel again.
I was really worried when the trailers were playing. It sounded worse in the trailers. I'm like, I can barely hear the song in the background of the
It's
trailer.
quiet.
I
Yeah.
went out and said something to an employee.
I wonder if you were doing that.
And it sounded a little bit better, like,
I thought the movie sounded better than the trailers,
but
for
it
sure.
still was missing a good chunk of that punch. And I'm so mad, especially when I pay $18 for a ticket.
Yeah.
AMC, get your crap together. But that aside, the soundtrack choice for this film, phenomenal. Everything. And they didn't just do the Guardians thing where they just plug it in either. Like they edited and split and spliced to where the music just lined up perfectly with whatever scene they were doing. Thought it was an awesome audio. For me as a 5. Cole, so sorry.
I'm also gonna go with 5. that soundtrack, fire, Chef's Kiss.
It's
It's up there with some of the Guardians soundtracks.
I have to buy the vinyl for Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah.
So good.
All right, Jonah.
Audio, I'm going to go with... I'm getting used to the new rubric. I'll go 5. There wasn't anything wrong with it. You know?
Build up to
He
the
acts
5.
like we sprung this on him. We told
No,
him.
you told me.
We told him as we were leaving the theater. It's like, hey, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, my brain's just...
Then he had an extra day to, mull it over.
adjust to it. Yeah,
So
I'm just a fool.
okay. And the last category, Cole, kick us off. Enjoyment.
Can I give it over a 5? Can I? Because I love this movie.
You can. I'm going to plug in a 5, but if you want to say a number higher than a 5, I will respect that value.
It's above a 5. I don't know exactly where I would pinpoint, but it's just fantastic. I had a good time from start to finish. Good times. This was like that people talk about. I saw someone comment on like some social media post of Endgame was the tribute for the first run of Marvel, first 11 years of Marvel. No Way Home was a tribute to all the Spider-Man movies, the live action. This was a tribute to the Fox movies and
The forgotten
era of superhero movies that deserved better. Like I said,
I totally agree. Jonah.
I'm also going to go 5. Like you said, this is like peak, like junk food superhero movie. This was just a jam, and I feel like it's one of those movies where you can like when you're watching it, you can tell everyone that was making it was having a pretty good time. And I had a smile on my face pretty much the whole time.
Yeah. Did Jonah? What did you give visuals? Remind me. Did you give it a 4 or 5?
you give it a 4.
I think it was a 4.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that wasn't a mistake on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 4.
Okay, cool. I wanted to make sure that wasn't a mistake. All right. But totally agree. Yeah, absolutely. So, that puts me at an 88%, Cole at a 96%, Jonah at an 88%, giving us a total score of 90.6. Round that up to 91%.
Got an A.
Yeah.
Good job, Marvel. That's how you do a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
It's the first Marvel A we might have had on the podcast, right?
I think Guardians
How long have
got
you
an
been
A.
doing
And Spider-Verse got an A.
Hold up a second.
Oh, yeah.
I was still had my cursor over here typing. When I hit enter and clicked off to somewhere else, it updated. It actually got a 93%.
Oh, it's doing great.
So
Let's see, Marvel movies. Guardians 3 got a 93.
I think that's appropriate, I
And
think.
Across the Spider-Verse got a 91.
okay. All right.
Ooh, that
never
don't
mind.
feel
I
right.
take that back. I immediately feel like I put my foot in my mouth there. But yeah, I was okay. But yeah, no. An A. A solid A at that. Not even just like scraping by. Like,
Right.
you know.
It's in the top tier of our movies that we reviewed on here.
Yeah. Let me go. Actually, I want to pull up Rotten Tomatoes. I was scrolling Facebook yesterday, and I scrolled past IGN. First off, so glad I didn't see this before we saw the movie because I would have been so mad. I hate when studios just post stuff on Facebook, and I have not agreed to see your opinions on this. I always like to go in as blind as possible.
Oh, yeah, like a review score? Yeah.
IGN gave it like
agree.
a 7 out of 10, which I know is very memeable for IGN, but I thought they would have loved this movie because it's like comic books. Like, I feel like this would have been
IGN.
their...
I think IGN depends on what review they put on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
It's sitting at a 79% with critics, 97% with audiences. And I think that's
I think that's fair.
valid.
If
I
you're
can-
critically looking at the movie, I think that's fair.
I can
for
understand why a
critics.
critic might not like this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have to be as objective as possible and take the fan service out of it, I can see that.
Yeah. So,
You know.
all right. Well, any closing thoughts before we wrap up this movie here, this podcast? We're at hour 13, so we're about pretty on par. I love this movie, though. I feel like it flew by.
Yeah.
Right. And-
Marvel, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think it's like the running theme of like every time Marvel puts out like a stinker, it's like Marvel's done, and then they put out a banger. Marvel's back, and like
They're just going to do what they're going to do at this
It
point.
just is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
This was Ryan Reynolds,
Baby.
taking the reins and knowing how to do it better than Disney knows how to do it.
Yeah, I think one of Marvel's biggest problems is I don't know how well they
just
have...
keep pushing out product that's not good. Like,
Well, part of that is I don't know if they've got someone creatively at the helm making sure that everything gels together well. Bob Iger, I think his name was like pump out content, Disney Plus, get those numbers up. And
Yeah, I think we don't know what to do with all this stuff.
you just brought in
yeah.
so many people with different opinions as to how a Marvel movie should look and feel and sound, and it really diversified the quality.
I think
I don't know if we're going back to that. I think Kevin Feige's directing the next couple Avengers movies.
Yeah, he was.
No, it's the Russo brothers, people who did the Infinity War Endgame. They got.
Oh.
Okay.
yeah.
What's Kevin Feige doing? I read he was doing something.
He was part of this movie.
He's like the head guy over everything. He's supposed to be the
And
mastermind.
that's the thing. They
Yeah.
need someone like him. Maybe he's been doing it. He's just doing a sucky job. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit now. They need someone to sit at the top and be like, hey,
Map this thing out.
I know your movie. I know you really want to do this movie here about this thing, but like, you can, but like, let's look at the tone or let's set it, and we're not going to connect it to the overarching plot. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. What I've heard is like what I've heard people say is kind of what happened is that, like you said, Bob Iger said get everything on Disney Plus, and I think Marvel is kind of like this wasn't really on our plan, so we have to kind of add a bunch of stuff into this, And then I think the other thing was the actor for Kang going to jail. I think derailed their plans a lot.
I think they recast him like within this week.
Oh, it's
right?
Robert Downey Jr. now.
Yeah, they're pretty much replacing him with
Tropic
Doctor
Thunder.
Doom. Yeah.
Tropic Thunder, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh boy.
That's
I'm a
really
king disguised as
Yeah,
a king.
I think they're
disguised as another king.
so good.
I think they're just dropping Kang and they're just going to do Doctor Doom now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to because it's like it sucks. Obviously, you don't plan for something like that.
Yeah, you can't really do anything
terrible.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just unfortunate for Marvel.
Yeah.
This headline's just saying that he was recast, but it doesn't say who.
Who, yeah.
Fans are speculating Boyega from Star
He
Wars.
would be pretty good.
And-
He'd be fine.
I mean, here's the problem though.
I think they're just ditching that.
They had Kang. That's fine. Like you could have brought up, but you showed a bunch of other Kangs that were exactly Jonathan Majors.
yeah, and
So it's
then
like,
are we just gonna ignore now the
Quantum-
giant
Yeah.
army of Kangs and just go to Doctor Doom? We're just gonna pretend that
Give it this. What?
the camera is about out of battery.
Oh no!
Oh darn, bruh. think
I
so.
couldn't tell. There was an S word and recording.
How long ago did it say that?
Like right now, I caught it right when I did it. If we didn't get it, I can draw a little picture of stick figure of us for the video. It'll be really
It'd
funny.
be like hey guys,
Correct.
this is
It says it has 7%.
this is future movie rubric. Jonah's gonna illustrate the remainder of the podcast.
Oh hi guy, yeah, I'll draw us later.
It says it has 7% left, so I don't know. I'll figure out how to splice these together. If I'm being honest, I don't know if I know how to put two 360 videos next to each other. I'm sure there's a way to do it.
I'm sure Premiere supports it. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Probably not. I hate Adobe. Either way, we're back. Jonah, what were you saying? Kang.
was I
We're talking
saying?
about Kang and being recast. And
Oh yeah,
everyone looks like
are
it,
we
yeah.
just gonna ignore the Kang plot line now?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah, I mean that's because they introduced him in Quantum Mania. Like he's our big bad good, and then Jonathan Majors has to be stupid and get in trouble. So yeah, I mean that's just one of those unfortunate real life things that you just can't really do anything about.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to just like
Pivot.
I want
just roll with it and just act like it. It wasn't Jonathan Majors. What are you talking about?
I want him to do the Star Wars thing, and I want him to go back and reshoot parts of Quantum Mania with whoever
Special
they
edition.
recast.
Yeah.
just
get
like
George Lucas on this thing.
reskin Jonathan Majors as
Yeah.
whoever the new person is, and then
Robert
just
Downey Jr.
act like it never happened.
Yeah.
Just
Or
splice-
maybe you have like the back of someone's head, like a double, and it's like Kang, and then Doctor Doom just comes and like shoots him in the head, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm taking over now."
That'd be pretty good.
so they're gonna give him the Snoke approach there.
yeah.
Guy
Yes.
you build up and then you just punk him
nothing
out.
with it.
I'm the real bad guy, Doctor Doom.
Oh man.
So.
Okay. Well, hey, I love this movie. This gives me hope for future Marvel projects, which it sounds like Marvel. The last couple things I've read is wanting to slow down a
They
little
are because the
bit.
next thing coming out is that Captain America thing. That's not till February.
Fantastic Four next
Yeah.
year. I'm pretty excited about.
So it sounds like they're slowing down. They're going back to maybe 1-2 movies a year, which I
Yeah.
think is good.
As
I,
it should be.
I did read that apparently test screening audiences did not like the new Captain America movie.
Well,
they did crazy reshoots on it after that. I
Imagine
think.
that.
Yeah.
so hopefully,
Hopefully, you know what? They give them the Sonic treatment and
it's
they
good.
bully a whole studio into giving us what we want, which is
Yeah.
a good Captain America movie
Yeah,
that we haven't had in quite some time.
you know, a lot of people have drawn a lot of parallels to that recently, being like the Marvel fan base is so toxic, the Star Wars fan base is so toxic. But yeah, like that point you just made, a toxic fan base saved the Sonic franchise.
They bullied a whole studio. It's the funniest thing.
And the Sonic fan base, they're crazy, but they pulled that off well.
I'm part of the Halo fan base. Yeah, I'm totally one of the people that bullied everyone who encourages the new Halo show. I'm glad I got canceled. I'm hoping we can get something good now. Like I'm hoping, like I think yes, it can be toxic. There are people out there who are hating on the Acolyte simply because they're racist or simply because, you know, they're upset that there's lesbian space, which is those people exist. But I think if the overwhelming majority of your fan base is saying they don't like this thing because it doesn't feel like the thing that they love, acknowledge that. Like you can still say, like with Eternals, the director from Eternals, I forgot who it was, said that they wanted to tell a different kind of Marvel story. That's fine. You can do that every now and then. And if people don't like it, it is what it is. I didn't hate Eternals, but like...
Probably no Eternals fans out there at the time, you know?
Yeah, but you gotta, I don't know, like...
All three of you that like that movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that one.
I'd give it like a C. Like, it was passable. I didn't hate it. Either way, wrapping it up, I hope that this slowing down the release of their movies, they put out higher quality movies each year.
I will take 2 to 3 really good movies a year than 5 or 6 mid ones.
I want like 1 to 2.
Yeah.
I just like they announced, what was it, Doomsday and Secret Wars for the next Avengers movies.
Yeah,
and I read that and I was like,
well, they've been building.
Like I have no hype for it.
Secret Wars has been in the talks since since Quantumania.
I think they kind of ruined Secret Wars with I didn't even watch it. What was the Disney Plus show with all the Skrull?
Secret Invasion.
It's kind of a different thing.
Like it's a different thing, but like that's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like they've shot themselves in the foot by like trying to introduce elements of Secret Wars without actually doing Secret Wars.
I think they're different. I
now
think
there's
Secret
a Kang
Invasion
Dynasty also that it's a movie that's happening. I don't.
Well, I think if the way I understood it is that it was going to be Kang Dynasty Secret Wars, and now it's Doomsday Secret Wars.
Okay,
I think
so
is how I understand it.
They're like, hey, listen, we can't be
we're not
can't be
doing this
having
anymore.
Kang around here.
Yeah, that's how I understand it. I could be wrong, but that's how I understood
RDJ got
their Comic-Con
he
thing.
kicked it off, and he's got to
Got to bring it back.
got to bring it back and save it.
Oh,
and we'll see.
All right. Well, if you've gotten this far, thank you for listening. Hopefully there's video on this part, and I don't just need to like splice in the audio over like a. If I can't get the video to work, Jonah, I'm just gonna have you doodle.
No, I was gonna say I'll draw the picture.
Like
I'll
the
draw
three
all
of
6
us
figures
sitting
of us.
at the table and put it in. Thank you for listening. What do we want to see next?
I don't know.
Marvel, if you're watching this, I can get sideburns and you can put a wig on me, and I could be Wolverine next if you don't want to have Hugh Jackman on anymore. So,
We got
I
Trap,
second this.
yeah.
we got Speak No Evil.
Both of those look great. I actually watched the Speak.
Beetlejuice is coming out soon.
I actually watched the Speak No Evil, and I watched part of the Beetlejuice trailer too at the theater. So like,
I'm intrigued by all these movies.
yeah. So yeah, we've got a few things coming out. Stay tuned. If you like this, share it with your friends. Please, we appreciate that. And yeah, that's it, you guys. If you guys got no closing thoughts, what noise can I have Jonah make as we end here?
Wolverine
today?
noise.
Well, yeah. Would you make me your best Wolverine claws coming out of his flesh noise?
Yeah, okay. Chink, chink. Ah!
Nailed it.
Yeah.